A 50-minute game. That's my kind of League of Legends. And every week, I know I might not sound genuine because I say that about the LPL, but every week, the LPL becomes my kind of League of Legends. This is Raz, who I know agrees with everything I say.
Everything.
Everything. And everything in that game 1 was achieved from minute 1 to minute 50. That was a wild game.
That was a wild game. That's why when I specifically, was talking to production, I don't want to see the first 20 minutes.
That's fair.
Throw it away. Like, honestly, Suning had a very strong start to the game. They were able to get 3 kills on towards the Kiana. And then the problem was simply that they started looking for fights around through mid lane before they even had side lanes prioritized. Like, they just did not play to the Kiana. And then you found yourself in the fights that we would look towards, and it was like, it was not clean.
Yeah, it was like, okay, well, we're fighting again and again and again. We got into replay-ceptions, we often do.
Yes, that's
in
true.
the LPL.
That's true.
We had a very bloody game, but one that then slowed down towards 40 minutes because the objectives rolled in and every fight counted.
So, did we hear the MVPs? Because I would be surprised. I actually have not heard who it was.
I didn't either.
I want to find out.
Can we have?
Oh!
That's okay. Now, you said iBoy or Meiko.
Yeah, you're right.
We both said Meiko, though.
You're right.
We both agreed
We both
Meiko.
fully agreed Meiko, but certainly iBoy is a grand runner-up. I feel like iBoy definitely deserved it with how he's been playing in that game, and also if you're comparing it to his recent performances, this was definitely a few steps up.
Oh,
so good job from him. But I gave you a few recon highlights, just so if you forgot. Because Meiko went wild this one with his recon. The only reason they found themselves back into the game with the deficit that they had was because of this play that amounted to the Baron dance that came through. And then, for me, all of the shenanigans that ended up coming through in this game was mostly just EDG trying to position for Baron.
Right.
Suning responding and trying to delay that, but obviously Smlz taking a few steps forward, misstepping, and then losing out. And then this was a great position where Suning did end up picking up Baron buff, but it was the charms that came through, how strong iBoy was at this stage, being able to have 4 completed items, by the way, that they couldn't even teamfight him anymore. So, yeah, I would say this game, Smlz certainly made crucial errors. I think 2 of them were very obvious, and it really prolonged the game. And then EDG had the stronger teamfight backing, while Suning had better wave management and setup. Bot lane was pretty poor from EDG, and that was because they set up side lanes really well. And take a look at this fight.
I mean, their ability to play around flanks was great as well, but
yeah,
this was just exceptional again.
And that was just disciplined play. For the entire later portion of the game, Akali wasn't able to ever find that back line. In that state, iBoy had both ultimate and he had flash. So he was completely fine against the Akali. But throughout the game, it was the team coordinating well around that pick. And then also just being able to use Jinoo and Scout to always man that fortress, so if there was anyone coming into the back, that they would be able to find that out and push them off.
And of course, this was the final fight that led towards the end, and it was a pick-off towards Maple that Jiejie and Jinoo facilitated and kind of redeemed themselves for the earlier portions in that game 1.
Yeah, and what sucked about all of that was that the earlier Gragas cask that put Aatrox to a very low HP bar allowed them to get a lot of chip damage on that bot lane turret.
Yeah, that's right.
And if they didn't get caught, if Maple didn't get caught in that situation, then they would have been able to get a little, press up a little bit more, taking that bot lane tower, maybe based. It would have been a far longer game. Would have been the longest game in the LPL Summer Split. But at the end, didn't happen. EDG picks up that team fight, picks up the win off that one push alone. Huge comeback from them.
Great to see it starting through the bottom lane there. So congratulations, iBoy, for picking up MVP on, you're right, on one of the cleanest games we've seen so far in the split from iBoy and from Meiko as well.
Yes.
When the identity of this team through Meiko and Scout, when you see Meiko performing like that, you have a lot of faith towards EDG.
And this is the first time you can look at this and say, even with the game being such back and forth affair, that they did play clean. Specifically, iBoy and Meiko.
Yes.
Those 2 players had a great early laning phase. That was the whole pick and ban, like essentially giving them that early laning phase, but they played to it well. They got bot lane dragon control earlier on, even though it was going back and forth, just based off that control as well. And it felt like a lot of the deficits in the early portion of the game happened because Jinoo got caught, or because Jiejie got caught. 2 of the more inexperienced players, 2 of the newer members of the team, that you can very clearly see communication errors coming through. That found themselves in a deficit, but they were able to hunker down, come back into the game. Great win from EDG, and now we're going into game 2.
In the start, I want to come back to what the early game was, because Jiejie had a jungle lead. It was a double scuttle early. It was invading and kind of getting a leg up over Weiwei. But then it was some smart ganks that got Suning into that early game. And I know this is backtracking a lot, but Weiwei finding first blood in the top lane was a great opener for Suning.
Because, you know, whenever you have games like those, I never want to overcomplicate, because you're right, the first 10 minutes of the game was a story in and of itself. The fact that Jarvan had his own lead, but the early skirmishes, because of how well Suning played as a unit, playing through mid, the Leona ultimate that hit, the combo from the Gragas cast, like, Suning for the first 10 minutes, being able to get that lead away from the J4, secure it on towards the Qiyana. Most top-tier teams will win the game based off that alone. But Suning was the team that wallowed there for a longer period. They didn't play towards Maple lead, even though that's what they should have done. Should have been able to slow it down.
The Maple lead or the Angel lead on the Akali.
Exactly. And I would say, I mean, the entire composition was built towards the Qiyana. They should have been able to nail that down, but obviously you don't want to go way too back in the past. That's up to the teams to...
That was an hour ago, yeah.
Kind of have that conversation. I think the teams should pick the same composition. It was a very smart comp from Suning, and they had the lead. It was just more so individual play that found them in that same position.
Because for Suning, you know, there's a lot of expectations on this matchup. Right now, they are sitting above over EDG in the standings, and they do have another matchup after this. So you want to see Suning play to the best of their ability. You want to see Suning come out of the gates firing, and I won't mind if we get another long game like that. That was the most entertaining game I think I've seen.
We're definitely starting to see more high-quality games.
Yes.
From all teams, because this is what the entire year that you put in work for amounts to. I mean, that's just been the conversation. Whenever you start very fresh, very clean in Spring Split, it's just the pendulum. You start off in Spring Split, every team looks awful. That's just the fact. Maybe the returning team, I'll say Sino Dragon was a team, now known as Dominus, that came in looking strong simply because that was the same unit that they brought in from LDL.
Yep.
So you'll see a few teams like that that come in fairly, you know, consistent. But then, we know you're on your phone, by the way. We have eyes on you. Now back to my point. But once you get through MSI, through the end of Summer Split, coordination is no longer an issue. A lot of the teams are on their game because that's all they've been playing. So communication and execution issues are not that big of a problem. Oh yeah, hold it up nice and so to speak. Oh, that's Meiko's, I believe it's an Annie.
Oh.
He was an Annie player at the very beginning when Annie was meta as a support. You know, EDG
we'll
trying
come back
to pick
around
up
to
fights.
that point, I feel.
No.
No?
I don't think so.
You don't think Spirit ignited something in the bottom lane for all these teams?
You know, we'll see that one Annie pick, and then we'll go back to current meta that is so much centered on, you know, yeah, some Karma. I think because Karma is pretty busted.
But it comes back to the point, right? Like you said, like Karma has been a first big priority for some teams, but not all. Then we can go to like Tom Kench. We change around.
Well, it's a complicated issue for most of the LPL teams. For RNG, they can flex it through all 3 lanes because they want to have that protection composition at the end of the day. They're more than willing to play the Karma. But then you have teams that are so centered around their solo laners. He's playing the piano, just so you guys know. That are so centered around their solo laners that picking a Karma for a Jinoo in this case can really hamper what he can accomplish on a side lane. So those are the small, you know, conditions. That's why we don't get to see a lot of teams willing to pick the Karma on first pick or just really not want to. IG's been the team that people throw Karma into them and they're like, well, we still don't want to pick it for the shy.
Yeah.
That's just something that we don't want to do.
It's also been interesting. We haven't seen that 80 carry Karma really that much here in the LPL. Whereas you go over to a region like LEC and expect that of someone like Reckless. I know that delves down a different path, but as we go into game number 2, it is those picks to watch out for. Let's see what draft we get this time around because it's really iconic. We're swapping around the sides as well, Raz. So let's see where we go from here.
All right. Right at the get-go. Trying to see. Olaf is up and available. Weiwei is a fantastic Olaf player, so I wouldn't put it past them to first pick it. It's going to be on EDG that either chooses the Trundle to follow up on it. We'll see if that's going to be the lock-in.
I respect the Rakan ban here against EDG.
But also the Karma is up and available. So we have a lot of power picks like the Sejuani, Olaf, Karma. It's up to EDG to lock in I would say Aatrox, and I'm just double checking to see. Yeah, Aatrox is available. And I would say Sejuani, but it seems like Jiejie has been so comfortable on the J4 pick that he'd want to lock it in for himself once again.
You see the Sylas, though, you don't know where that's going in the time being, as it's picked in game number 1 here by Scout. So, as you mentioned, comfortability here for the Jarvan.
Maple has been, I think, the better Sylas of the two between him and Angel. Maple has been picking up the Sylas the moment it came into meta, and has been actually showcasing a really strong point of execution on it. I haven't seen him play the Sylas since they nerfed his ultimate and made it such a larger cooldown.
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
Wow, okay. Interesting to see the AD carry this early on here for iBoy. The Kai'Sa has been one of his favorite here in the split, just like always.
I want to see if they're going to lock in a pick like a Nautilus that can set up for the Kai'Sa so well in laning phase and later on in the game.
Yep.
The ultimate that the Nautilus can provide could just make it so easy for the Kai'Sa to find that backline, and Sunning's not going to let them have it.
Yeah, take it away. SwordArt loves this pick as well. He's great with any hook champion, so that makes sense. But do you just go for another AD carry here? Get it out of the way.
I'm thinking, Zaya's up and available, and I think she works well with all. The Ezreal, I think, is even better for SMLZ. Oh, and this is his pick.
Yeah, this is his pick.
SMLZ is the best Lucian player, and I know Uzi's here too. Like, if I'm just talking about having a conversation about Lucian as a champion, SMLZ and Uzi do wonderful things with the champ. So I love the fact that SMLZ is going straight back to the champion. I was thinking Ezreal because you'd want to be a lot more safe, allow SwordArt to go into the mid lane and essentially have the same impact he did in the last game. But it seems like we're going to do a lot more skirmishing in the bot side of the map. Lucian is a better pick into the Kai'Sa early on in the laning phase.
There we are, and EDG aren't even thinking about that support. They go, yes, it is time to give Scout his Akali. So he's back on board, the champion that really made the last series for him.
All right. I mean, last series, you're right about it. Scout was first picking his Akali. Literally just going on to it whenever it was possible because of how much of a carry performance he had in game 1. And then he was able to carry over. I think he is a phenomenal Akali, and the team of EDG know how to set him up. They were doing some crazy plays to get mid lane ganks to allow Akali to get like a kill really early on when they were timing on Flash and the enemy mid laners. So I think there's a lot of pressure on Maple or Angel, whoever ends up taking the challenge, to deal with it.
Who will it be for the time being? The question towards the Sylas is we go into the second phase, and that is a Volibear ban that every time I see I love.
He's raising up in win rate. That's a 30% win rate now.
Hey, he was at 0% after like 7 or 8 games.
And then it was 15. He's just moving on up.
Sunday he's going to be 80%, all right? It's going to go
That's
that far.
literally
No.
not gonna happen.
Don't
That's
ever correct me on that. It's fine.
Okay.
It's okay. Sinzao going to be the second ban as well here for EDG. They're targeting towards junglers, and with the majestic Thunder Bear there, you also find yourself a cow. So really targeting down on Meiko.
All right, let's see what composition we end up rolling out for EDG. We still need a top lane pick, and the Aatrox is still available here. So you'd think that Jinoo would just go straight to the pick.
Make him smiling though. We locked this one in. Haven't seen that for a while. Oh, wouldn't that be the reverse? Sun versus water.
Okay.
Okay, that's elements for you.
This is really risky simply on the fact that, you're going up against a Lucian. He's going to be able to drift away from that if that's going to be the target. And then you're looking up against the Sylas, who's going to be able to nab your ultimate and will have that ability himself to start fights, much like how last game was panning out. But knowing that you can play through bottom lane and then target a very fat Nautilus, that's a pretty interesting call. Maybe EDG are going to go back to bot lane and play through, have jungle play through bot a little bit more.
Okay, that's an interesting thought. Also, here's your Sejuani. So we know the Sylas is going into the solo lane once again. We've also got the promise of Aatrox that has once again made it this far.
Aatrox and Sejuani. That's the combination I've been looking forward to through the LPL for so long. But teams just walk away from it like it's the plague. Because combined, they're great. Later on in the game, fabulous. Early on, the issue is that the Sejuani can get abused a lot more by the early skirmishing junglers that we mentioned on. And then also just the laning phase of the Aatrox can get pummeled a little bit. That's going to be the GP lock-in from Jinoo.
Oh, okay. do I look at Jinoo and say that's a GP player? Not often. But Jinoo himself, I mean, still an exceptional top laner, so. For EDG, very different draft coming in here to game 2.
I mean, the barrels will set you up in lane, so you'll have that range advantage. You should be fine unless if the Sejuani starts knocking down your door. So that's my question, if he ends up getting dove up top lane.
True.
And then, here's the thing. So we're setting up for the whole bottom lane focus from EDG, and then you have a GP ultimate now that will combine with it. EDG's bot side focus, we saw it was able to net them in game 1. It's certainly going to double down in this second game.
Game where you have the Leona on the other matchup here for EDG. So you throw that spanner in, and then you got iBoy back on Kai'Sa. After their exceptional game 1, when you focus the bot side and they're doing that well, you go, yeah, this makes perfect sense for Edward Gaming.
And here's the thing, I think it's so much centered around team play. Because if you just leave the Nautilus and Lucian alone, the Lucian should be able to pump out a little bit more damage than the Kai'Sa, unless if she gets a pretty good passive stack setup. Should be able to dive straight through on towards and force that 1v1 with that champion. So I'm just talking about it in isolation. I feel as though the Lucian should be fine in the lane. But the concern is that, can SMLZ look for that dive with a GP ultimate in tow? Can you look for that dive when a Leona ultimate's going to set up alongside J4, who's going to be knocking at your door as well? So EDG are going to be looking down bot side pretty damn heavily. SMLZ just needs to have all eyes on the map.
He just wants himself to get out of that lane. He just wants to survive at this point. And for Suning, survival is key. This series, they go down, they fall down the standings here. For Edward Gaming, they just want that security towards 5th seed. We'll find out going into game 2.
All right. Good push out from EDG, and they're going to be able to nail down a ward. That should catch, let's say, if you know, Weiwei ends up pathing from red buff up topside towards the wolf camp, that will definitely catch him. So they'll have eyes on him if he ends up pathing up topside.
I think in the early game. Oh, hello. All right. So getting a quick look here at like the final matchups.
These are the must-watch matchups if you're just having discussions about who's going to be making it into the playoffs and in what state. Invictus Gaming, if they take that series versus RW, will be able to lock that spot in. Team WE, they need to take down Victory 5. They want to lock in that playoff spot, and it all comes into the last one where LNG versus Suning. I mean, that's a really good one. If LNG can pick that one up, then they're in a pretty comfortable spot. So, because they do have a point difference, a point advantage over Team WE.
Yep.
So if they both have the same set wins, then you look towards the points, and you would be able to immediately favor LNG. They will take that playoff spot. So, you know, final week of the LPL, that's where all the fun is at. I remember whenever we come into a final day, and I'm talking about like every split, I feel like the final day always matters.
Yeah.
That it will decide who gets that 8th seed. It will decide who ends up getting a semis bye.
That's true. Okay, we'll get back in the game for a quick second because Meiko getting in half health. But further to your point, I think even more so, it came down to the last day, last split, where we still needed to find out who was actually making it into playoffs in total. And this split, it feels like it's going to come down to that as well.
Yeah, and that one also just decided who was 5th seed and 8th seed between Team WE and JD. So playoff times are always fun. One thing to take note of this game, though, is Weiwei started up topside. That ward that was placed down by Scout did catch him moving from, you know, the wolf camp down to the bot side of the map. And Jiejie is going to be here to mirror that. He should expect that the Sejuani is around.
But just waiting here in the brush with no vision is going to be so advantageous as they jump on in for EDG. Bot side set up, SMLZ ignited down, second skin there, and first blood over to EDG as Meiko going to get ignited with the flag drag. The thank you ma'am over here is the teleport. Now charted in, Maple wants to go in. Meiko flashes away, the Icon Duck doesn't connect.
Wow.
The re-engage, but is the damage there? I'll tell you one thing, iBoy's having the time of his life. Second skin heaven as he launches down, and even Weiwei is going to go away. Never mind, iBoy set up in the early game.
4-1 with 2 kills on the Kai'Sa. They didn't even need Jiejie for the initial gank. They just ended up getting Smlz killed right from the get-go off of Meiko's engage. So EDG starting this game off really well.
Oh my lord, that was more explosive than IG versus LGD's Game 2 yesterday.
Is this the right time to be looking at the runes of Lucian?
Really is not.
Lucian is going to get burnt this game. That's a problem.
Everyone came down. Did Scout make his way down? I don't think he moved.
Didn't need to.
Well, this is what you need. Weiwei's like, hey, let me get to another lane, and teleport's going to be used. Oh, no. We're doing it again. Raz, are you ready? Is this what the LPL is about? As Permafrost is there onto Scout, freezes him down, Ignite down onto Weiwei. He disappears again, and Jinoo now going to get locked down himself. Permafrost going to come through, and the Gangplank has oranges available, but he's chunked out, and Angel's making his way down. Look, here comes Meiko as well with double buff. Flashing from SwordArt. iBoy's joining the fight. I love this region so much. Never let me go back to Australia.
This reminds me of EDG versus...
Meiko, yeah! Weiwei's joined the fight again. It's 4 versus 5, and this is insane! Meiko gets chucked out again. iBoy jumps back in. Maple's autoed. Heals up with the Kingslam, and Meiko finds him. This is so good!
This is basically a scrim, baby. You get that lead by EDG. EDG just goes for that fight. Why not? Bring more members.
POV, who cares?
Are we really watching Smlz play this game?
Hey, we should not.
If you are a by the way, you have to pay for POVs now. So like in terms of, because it was free for the first 15 or something days, and then now you have to pay for the experience. You need to use WeChat. So I'm sorry, English audience. That's a step too far from you guys. You guys won't be able to get that.
But look, they're on the right stream this game. That's okay.
Yes, please don't watch Smlz's point of view.
iBoy has a BF sword, by the way. I was wondering why he was just autoing for absolutely so much. So this is an early game where EDG have a 2k gold lead, by the way, at 5 minutes. And their bottom lane has a combined kill score of 4-0 and 6.
The reason why I wanted to point out 2015, it reminds me of LGD versus EDG 2015. Because back then, they were playing so heavily around Pawn's advantage, or just around his Kassadin pick, that you would get 5v5s with Acorn coming up top lane to go mid, that they were just pivoting in the first 5 minutes of the game, and you were like, please, go back to your lane.
Scout just gets everyone there. He doesn't want them there.
But that's how dire of a situation it is for Suning, that they want to use SwordArt to come mid lane and force a fight. But all they were waiting on was Scout's second rotation on his Shroud, so they can fight again. So this is a sad game.
And after that, Scout ahead 10 CS in the mid lane. The Gangplank comes down, pushes them out, gets an assist, moves back top. He's ahead in his lane as well. So not only that, the implications across the map just means that for EDG, this will continue rolling.
So before that entire catastrophe, or whatever it was,
that
happened through mid lane, Smlz was going back into the lane with Cole. iBoy is going back into the lane with BF Sword. Now he's got Kerche Shard, but at least Smlz has himself a Vamp Scepter. He's just going to be trying to farm up AFK as much as possible. Pray that EDG do not do anything across the map so he doesn't want to come in and join. But you have a damn boost mobility Leona. A fight is going to happen.
Yeah, in the mid lane, of course. That's the ultimate used by Scout. Immediately, Maple steal his own, but Dragon stolen as Jiejie and iBoy getting out of there. Look, Suning want to fight again, but iBoy's like, yeah, you want to play? Let the play. Say hello to my little friend. Jinoo launches down. There's the Zenith's Blade, the flag drag, and again, EDG just don't know when to stop the party.
Look, Suning just need to leave people behind. You have no friends right now. You just need to survive.
Nothing could be more perfect here. If you're watching the LPL for the first time,
oh, welcome.
This is a great game to get you into League of Legends, let alone the region itself, excuse me.
I swear not all games are like this. But if you like it, then I can be that cheap salesman to you.
Okay.
And lie.
I think I can hear the Chinese casters absolutely still blowing their voice.
Well, he found his mark.
With Zenith's Blade, that's a good trade back onto Meiko. You take those.
Yeah, there was a huge minion wave in front of iBoy, so iBoy's not going to be able to send a W to stack up that passive mark. But at least they get a full push here. Now, I want to see What the 3-0 and 3... Oh, he's going to stop his back.
Oh, but do you really want to? SwordArt, was that a mistake? He has killer instinct, he has ult, he has the damage. Now comes in Weiwei with the ultimate lockdown iBoy. The shutdown gold will be massive. 600 Smlz, he might be back in the game.
He thought he would at least get one person stuck in the shot. He timed that hook while someone else was about to back to at least get that one lone person hooked up. But no, unfortunate. They saw him coming.
Oh, Jiejie might be caught out here as well. Two members jumping onto him, and Scout's going to join the fight as well. Maple caught out, and Conqueror not there because it's electrocute on the Java, and the burst damage available. Maple at half health, Kingslayer with double Cataclysm. Jiejie caught in the enemies. He can't get out. Angel gets the kill, but now jumps onto with the Shuriken flip, and EDG flipping around the map. Angel on the run, the wings of glory, saving him for now. They re-engage, but they get the kill, not before the Akali goes on down. But Jinoo's still here as well. This is the game I want to live in. A double kill for the Silas where Suning actually gets some gold.
Finally, Suning comes back with a fight. They were contesting for so long, they're not going to just let EDG walk around them. And then now you have members falling down. Akali and the GP really early on. Now I'm losing waves for that, so... Good stuff from Suning, at least gold's coming into their pockets.
They're stopping Jiejie from getting everything on the map. While the action's going on the bottom side, he goes in for the blue invade, and he's punished by the rest of Suning. As we'll look at this one again.
Just as he was basing, Meiko stops. That was really well done from Meiko. Meiko had an idea that the Nautilus was looking for the pick. Now, at the end of the day, you still get the kill on the AD carry. So good shutdown gold. Who picks it up? Nice. Lucian picks up that fat stack. Take a look at this one, though. This is EDG a little bit overconfident, confident because they go towards, thinking that they can get the kill on towards Angel. Angel really taken down low, but he drags them in for a long time. A great amount of sustain, and he's able to duck into Fog of War too, so great re-engage, mostly because he bought them that time to do it.
Thankfully, Jinoo only got the parlay off in the end. You're right, as here we go again onto iBoy, but they don't know Jiejie's nearby. In for the dredge line, the ultimates as well. iBoy instantly ults himself, and you know it's over. Suning just need to get out, but the cannon barrage already used. Weiwei locked on down. iBoy hits 1, 2, 3. It's another double. 6, 1, and 3 with a Storm Razors Kai'Sa.
So I think Suning's playbook just got leaked, and all of it is haymakers. Hail Marys across the board. They're pretty much intimidated by EDG's composition, having a really good mid game, having a far superior late game. Like, EDG's comp is pretty damn good later on, once they get out of the laning phase. But the laning phase is so poor by Suning that, Suning just wants to fight now.
Oh, yeah, look, I mean, you have to. Look at Jinoo. He's like, okay, maybe I die here to Angel, but grasps the Undying, heals him up. Angel's going to fly in for his namesake, but not get the kill. Yeah, let's just fight again. Scout, you press E there. Of course you do. You need to go in. This is game 2 we're talking about. You don't stop here. We're still going to fight. Oh, yep. Okay, perfect execution. Use it. If you've ever seen the anime Kill la Kill, the costumes thrive on blood. That's what I'm thinking right now. Everyone's wearing, I think it's called a kamui, right? And yeah, soak in the blood. EDG's got one. Suning have got one as well. Jiejie's like, yeah.
When did I get a hidden weeb on this game?
You thought you were the only one, as Meiko's going to get launched in again. Okay. Just for the turret plating, no more.
So that was a pretty good bait coming in from Meiko to begin with. He was in Flag of War just waiting for Maple to do exactly what you're saying. I mean, try and go for a tower dive. With how hectic this game has been so far, you would expect Suning to try and back that up, but didn't happen. So Scout was able to get a base off, was able to come back into the lane. But iBoy still has a huge lead at this stage. That's Storm Razor and a pickaxe, so he's at such a good place for himself that this is going to be easy to just play through.
Even in CS's Smlz, good job, but he got played to the wrong king versus the Storm Razor with the extra items. So now for Suning, they're like, how do we bring some tempo back? This is going to be a contest.
If they can take down Jinoo, then this is easy.
Oh, that's a really good Cracker chopper. Jinoo goes gold, and the rest of EDG are moving up, but they're going to leave Jinoo. They don't care about him. They're like, okay, it's too late, we're going to leave.
Yeah, they're going to have to sacrifice this Rift Herald. They don't have iBoy in the area, so that's not even going to be close for them. Unless if they try and... Nah, not even possible. Scout's got to get out of there.
Solar Flare is available.
Oh no! It's a lot of HP.
And here we go again. That's watered as well, by the way. So EDG are laughing.
Just so you know, Rift Herald packs a punch. Weiwei's lost a lot of HP, and they bought enough time to now look for the contest.
And iBoy's moving up. Teleport's going to be there. This is going to be EDG starting to fight. Cannon Barrage down onto Angel. He's healing up. And Jinoo, parlay! The words they hate muttered. Suning have already lost 2, and now iBoy's in it. You just know this Kai'Sa loves to party again.
Look how much that sucked. Because the entire play was started because you got the kill on a GP. The Rift Herald comes back to full HP. GP's alive and comes back onto the play. This is the funniest game I have watched in some time.
I know you quoted a game being your favorite about a week and a half ago, Raz.
This is my new favorite.
Yes, this takes the cake. 19 kills, 14 minutes. Mid turret goes down at the 14-minute mark with Rift Herald and EDG are ahead by 5,000 gold.
All right, SwordArt, you know exactly what you want to do here.
Give him the red buff. Oh. Okay, that was quite commendable.
That was real close, but you're not going to be able to out-damage iBoy at this stage.
Now, do you think he has his second item?
We'll see.
Okay, after this.
I'm going to cheat. Let's talk about the replay a little bit, because I literally, exactly as I stated, not only is Weiwei incredibly low in HP, but also he comes right back into the play. I mean, what else do you need to say? This would have been a pretty easy Rift Herald take, and back to base you go, if it didn't reset.
Suning are trying so hard, and like, again, another thing that is commendable here is Suning are trying to match that aggression, trying to pull themselves into the game, but one thing after another, isn't it? To a series that started with that 50-minute game. Now we're to a game which could end in like 15 minutes.
Hey, you know what? It's EDG, anything is possible.
That's true. Well, Suning might have found a good pick here on the Meiko, but does no damage. That's going to be the center plate going in. Maple flashes away from the solar flare. iBoy was at the helm here with only still one item. They'll back away.
All right. But they have a lot of pressure now through mid. They can do whatever they want, but a very nice deep ward through mid coming in from Suning that catches them in rotation.
Yeah.
So whenever they have a push out in mid, they can always see them moving throughout top side. If you just look at the mini-map, that map is so loaded with red wards right now.
Yeah, it really is.
EDG has all that sight, so even having that extra bit of vision, just knowing, getting a little bit of hint of where EDG is moving, that's just something you need if you're Suning.
I love the turret plating coming up here. It's like, no, hide the gold difference between each member. This is going to be coming up, and oh, it's still there. It's actually not as bad as I thought, but of course, when the junglers evolved a lot, when the AD carry has that big of a lead.
It's 16 minutes into the game. Yeah. If you expect it to be a 2K or 3K margin, then it's right. Wild games, my friend.
You're right.
It is a 5K gold lead.
I know. And you're right, it's only 16 minutes, so I take that back. Gwinsu's picked up now, by the way.
Yeah, nice.
So, 16 minutes in, full item breakpoint here. At least Smlz will get the bottom lane turret while EDG pick up top. So, Suning are still trading for what it's worth.
And a small adaptation that we need to discuss. When a game is snowballing in a fashion that it is right now, you shouldn't go and pull gold into a tier. Simply because you already have such a strong mid game. And your late game, his damage is actually gets me through the roof with the GP in tow as well, that you should just at least I would say have a deeper mid-game window.
Yeah.
Don't go towards the tier. Don't have to stack it up. That 800 gold is not going to be necessary. Just go in towards the Gwinsu's Rage Blade. He was able to pick it up, and now he's actually just packing a punch.
I remember this advice when I played my Kai'Sa game with you, Raz, and you said, why'd you pick up a tier after getting a triple kill early? So I take that advice, I look at iBoy, and he's taking it himself. I
mean, you can still do that. It depends on the comp. Well, that exact situation just wasn't right time.
Fair enough. I was mistaken, excuse me. Weiwei coming in. Wasn't able to smite that one away. By the way, Jiejie over Weiwei. We should check in with the level difference here. It's 2 in the favor of the J4. And
yikes.
At least Suning will be happy that it's not the infernal mountains we saw in game 1.
Yeah, Stoneplate too. Over Weiwei, so teamfight is already there. If your colleague has Gunblade, Trinity Force there from Jinoo. Like across the board, they've reached fairly comfortable item breakpoints to be taking fights. So Suning needs to do this, where taking risks like these, getting a pick and knowing that you're going to be trading across the map, at least get that gold.
Yeah.
But not going to be playing that game, especially after the last game. Oh! We trading bushes now.
Yeah, look, Oh, he's going by himself. He knows he can.
Hey, you want to buy some wares? Come in this direction.
Plain chicken. EDG very patient.
Oh, no.
Hello.
All right. They know too much.
Yeah. Go bot. Oh, no. The Aatrox doesn't know enough. The Aatrox doesn't know enough.
He's fine. He's fine. He
Easy,
even has his
though.
ultimate. I'm going to keep saying he's... Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Pops it because he knows.
That could just be bottom turret getting taken away. Easy here for EDG, but Suning at least trying to make a response towards the top side as the Silas and Sejuani have paired up.
Yes, this has been a smart start. But remember with a Mountain Dragon coming up next, and that would be that 4th Dragon for EDG at this stage of the game. I mean, they are in such a comfortable position.
Cannon Barrage used towards the top side there if you're wondering where the barrels are firing from.
All right, no
that
trades.
stops the push. Angel spotted out once again. He's going to try and match this. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near this Kai'Sa.
Lucian actually just needs to evacuate from the mid lane vicinity as soon as possible.
Yep.
That positioning around red side jungle right now is a little bit too scary.
Gangplank going to walk past Sejuani here, but Jinoo's been very safe. Actually love his positioning in this game. He's been super smart about it.
Especially after last game, once again, as he was getting targeted out.
Yes.
Whenever he found himself a small lead, he just had to learn that he couldn't go fully all in if he didn't have the positioning of the team to follow up. This time around, I mean, he's GP. All he needs to do is farm up, wave clear, because the full amount of that pressure coming in from EDG is through iBoy. And to be fair, at this point now, Scout has enough damage around him. How you doing?
See you later. And more on that as well for Jinoo, that positional errors in that last game. It didn't feel characteristic of the top laner that we've come to learn and respect about in the EDG environment as of the summer split.
Yeah, I mean, look, I remember when he was in LGD. To me, he was a pretty wild character. But they found him now.
Hey, you said wild. Well, still a Cannon Barrage. This is going to be the Dodge City here as SwordArt. He's looking to go over the wall. Flashes of Scotland Duck. Meiko's like, nope, I'm out. Suning find a pick. They use a lot to do so.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. A lot of the time, Jinoo wants to be able to create an advantage somewhere.
Yeah.
And he's been on teams where he has been the focal point of the composition. He's got himself ribbons and all that when he was on Victory 5 and LGD. He's going on to a team that is pretty heavily bot side centric, so he's got to learn.
Now that he's dead, up in 15 seconds, I'm not sure if we're going to see that same play where EDG heading towards top side here, going to push down the turret, but defended well by Suning.
Oh no, now Jiejie has to go back to base, but at least you have 2 Ocean Dragons to your name. At least you got that. You're right. Aatrox needs to be answered by somebody.
Death Dance first. And we're seeing a lot of life steals to be had here on Angel. He'll push the wave in, he'll back away.
You can take that risk. I mean, GP's not standing tall to you, especially since you have a lot of pressure there anyways.
Ooh, good. All the effort that went into that. Look at this. No flash available here for SwordArt over the wall. Yeah. Culling's going to come through. That Lucian's big with 2 items. Despite the early game, I mean, he's 2 items to 2 items.
I mean, he was going on full econ mode. Even sold his call that he had fully stacked up too, so you had the call rolling with him. He was fully farming up bot side when the Kai'Sa was moving consistently to match skirmishes. So he's at 216 CS to the 226 of iBoy. So good job from Smlz just saying, all right, guys, we're not farming. Let me get there, okay?
Caught up in gold, still behind 1400, but it's better than being, what we saw earlier in the game, I should say.
Well, let's not see this.
Yeah, that's 3 members. That's just going to be clean execution. And with the lockdown here, Scout jumps back in. First kill for EDG. Second's going to come through as iBoy charges forward onto Angel. Launches the Acathian Rain and easily done again. Suning were playing so well.
Right place too. When the Baron Dance comes through, it's just so difficult for Suning to get the wards down. They at least had one smart one. So they would have still had the vision of EDG looking to take the buff. They just wanted to get a little bit more accurate vision, but that costed them. It's going to be Baron buff going over to EDG.
At 23 minutes in the game, EDG have themselves an 8,000 gold lead, and now they can move towards Mountain. Suning cannot be here. That is going to be the 4th elemental. Most likely secured when they return.
All right, start adding more plays into the playbook if you were Suning. The Hail Marys did its work. I mean, at least they're not out of the game. That's all I'm asking for, but they had good vision of EDG in the area. But the problem was they wanted to put a little bit more meaningful vision, just in case. They could have been sneaking it, as an example. But they get caught out there. At that point, especially if you're going up against the Leona, that's what she's built for. Be able to get those picks. And it also allows iBoy to chase the Aatrox far easier.
Yeah. Front line. That's powerful at the moment here for iBoy. Level 14 on the Kai'Sa. The same as the solo laner here for EDG. And just picked up the Renan's Hurricane. That'll certainly speed up the process to take that mountain with a second one coming up as well.
A 5-dragon game. Now, it may not last that long, but it's been pretty good focus coming in from EDG. We'll have to see, though. They're doing a good job being able to isolate this bot turret.
Solar Flare is available, but joining up here with Jinoo with the Baron buff. Like you said, it might not go that long because they're now pushing in. Scouts here in the mid lane. They don't need to worry about top because EDG, they're not going to be stopped here unless Angel finds the pick.
They got a really good wave here. A lot of great damage on the Jinoo.
Alters onto iBoy, locks up the gangplank as well, but that does nothing. They can re-engage next wave that comes in.
I love the fact that Jinoo's with the team. I mean, now he can place barrels, allow this space there for iBoy to play it out. Unfortunately, took a lot of damage there, so he's just going to have to sit back. He has 2 Ocean Dragons to just kind of chill out and be able to heal right back up. They're going to commit to this next wave now. Wonder how Suning are going to play this one out without the ultimate from Nautilus.
Maple has Cannon Barrage as well, so this should be able to deter part of it. Wave crashing in, barrel set up like you mentioned, just to zone them away. Turret will go down eventually, but Cataclysm comes in first. The turret eventually does drop with the enemy. Cataclysm sets up again. The Solar Flare locks down too. Meiko re-engages. iBoy ults into the back line as well. They get locked down, but goes golden. In the AoE environment, it's too easy. That's a quick Quadra. Did we go the full distance? We didn't. We got an ace, and Scout will be happy with that.
Right on death's door, too. Suning tried to hold them back, but they just couldn't deal with the Scout right behind them. The Akali did the job needed, and this is looking like a 2-0 for EDG.
I mean, it's set up for success. That early game was insane. That game was insane. That series was even more bonkers, and a 2-0 is what I least expected coming into today.
That was a dumb early game. That early game set all of this up. And Suning just were like, all right, are we going to find ways? Like, we still have a chance. Good picks that they were making on towards the GP. Then GP just learns his lessons, starts playing towards the team, starts grouping up a lot more. You can definitely tell that EDG didn't want to slip up like they did going up against Top Esports. Didn't want to find themselves in a Game 3 at all going up against Suning. That is pretty damn good at being able to adapt. They just wanted to shut it down, so slowed the game down, got out every dragon. They could have gotten the 5th dragon as well to their name. Double mountain dragon it would have been. Great job from EDG being able to lock down this win.
Hand over his heart, Jiejie, saying, yes, I know that was a solid performance, because despite that early game, it was the improvement of EDG in that series. You got to say that Game 2 was a lot cleaner on the execution end, and I don't know. I know we're just going to look at the early game anyway, because that was actually insane.
That was a fun one.
It was a fun one.
Is what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, just being able to watch the team, at least from, I'll say from EDG's perspective, from EDG being able to take Game 1, find a way to come back around iBoy and play around that gameplay. So now they've proven to the world that they can actually still claw back into a game when they're in a deficit, which we didn't see from them in the beginning of this split. And then you saw Game 2. Easily being able to double down on the lead that they have, and they were all on the same page. So great job. I mean, you'd love to see games like that for a team that is now eyeing the playoffs.
Yeah. Great way to end the regular season. That was EDG's very last series.
That's true.
Of the split until we get towards playoffs. So to finish like that, oh dear Lord.
Let's see when that started. 3 minutes, it seems. 3 minutes and 10 seconds in which they got that bot lane fight into a mid lane double down.
Yeah.
And then there was a topside skirmish that actually brought Suning back into it. But through all of that, EDG was profiting. And so, yeah, you don't like to see games end that quickly. And you certainly, if you're Suning, don't like hope being torn away from you.
I just love that at level 3 we saw Jiejie there, and we talked about how EDG were going to focus on that bottom lane. I didn't know it was going to be like that. You know, focus on the bottom lane, sure, but like, just jump on in, launch everything at a whim. Yes, it is better than IG and LGD the other day, for sure. That was our best game of the split.
That was pretty damn good. You like to see it. Just taking a look at this, it seems like Suning can't achieve 10 wins any longer. Knowing that their last set, they're currently at 8 wins, their last set would be giving them 9, then that would make it so BLG is confirmed for top 4.
Yeah.
So just a rough math on that one. So congratulations for BLG on that one. They don't have to actually just win that set going up against RNG.
But it would be nice.
But it would be nice, and it would get me my prediction win. So like
Yeah.
you can, please.
Because right now, you've only got 1 point lead, don't you?
Good point. Oh,
1
yeah,
point
you're
now.
right. Okay. No, it's not. Yeah.
There's
okay.
1 point.
All right.
But
okay.
you still just need 1,
That's
and you
all right.
win.
Don't touch me.
You touched
Oh,
me.
Don't touch me.
That was, that's what Suning was screaming after that
Don't
early
touch
game. Don't
me.
touch me. Get away
Don't
from
touch
me.
me. Run!
Because that was great.
Yeah.
That was absolutely magnificent. And, like, again, the bottom lane of EDG, it's good to see they're at least in the element, whether it was game 1 or game 2, with whatever the merit. That was iBoy and Meiko's show in this series.
Yes, this series was definitely about them, and you like to see it happen. You know, a lot of the times EDG's success, in fact, since the very beginning, has been through the duo lane. And so they brought in iBoy. They're confident about him for a reason. If we're just talking about top 80 carries in the split, while the conversation started to move away from iBoy, he's a world-class AD carry for a reason.
Yep.
And you expect him to show up in those moments. And Meiko certainly did on both games. The first game being the Recon performance, showcasing you have to ban the Recon away.
Sure.
That happened. Going to game 2, he's like, I'm picking up the Leona.
Yeah.
And was able to put in a lot of work there. So great stuff coming in from EDG. And you have to inevitably have that discussion where you come into the series saying, well, Suning is the better team. Or at least I did.
At least you did.
And then now you're saying, okay, well, now what conversation are we having? Because they forced Top Esports into a 3rd game series. They now look better now than they did back then. They're rapidly improving coming up to playoffs time. You would expect them to run that distance, have that adaptation. You saw from JDG, the reason why JDG made it to the finals was adaptations that came through at the very beginning when they went up against Team WE. They went to RNG. They learned a lot of lessons through those best of 5. So anything is possible for EDG.
And Suning, remember, 1 more match to go, just while we were talking about consequences and moving forward. Suning LNG to finish off, so that's a strong way to end it. Also, a strong way to keep LNG out of playoffs at that point as well. So.
Okay. And I'm getting word that we can just move straight into the 2nd series. So BLG and RNG.
We're going straight into this one. Like, we're hot dropping